You're listening to Potty Mouth Radio, the home of movies, music, television, and comedy. The following podcast contains spoilers and rude words. We watch a thing. We watch a thing. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to We Watched a Thing with Billy and Dave, where the
Borderlands
awful
Day.
shit streak continues. And
come
even
on.
you can't. No, Dave, no.
I
know
have
that.
changed my tune on Eli Roth off the back of this movie.
Fuck off.
I have changed my tune, and in saying that, what I mean is, after The House with the Clock in Its Walls, I thought maybe he wasn't complete shit. And I've changed my tune. He is complete shit, and I was right the first time. He's fucking dreadful.
But you were wrong last week when you were trying to tell me that this was going to be great.
Trying to work out who was further from the mark with their anticipated films. You with Godzilla x Kong, or me with this. And I think it's still you, because that was your number one film, which is just fucking insane. I think I had this around 7 or 8 or something.
I mean, we'll talk about this. I think you're being a little bit unfair on Eli, but let's get into it. Borderlands is a 2024 American science fiction action comedy film, supposedly. Co-written and directed by Eli Roth, based on, of course, the video game series developed by Gearbox Software.
Yep.
It stars Cate Blanchett, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, Edgar Ramirez, Ariana Greenblatt, Florian Munteanu, Gina Gershon, and Jamie Lee Curtis. And what is it about, mate?
It is about Eli Roth shitting all over a beloved games franchise. How Randy Pitchford allowed this to go out the door is fucking beyond me. I was so upset by this film. I've got a massive fondness for this franchise.
I was just going to ask that, because I know that you're a gamer. Obviously, you worked at Rockstar Games for a long time.
I know
so I'm
people
guessing
that worked
that
on
you've
this
played
game.
this. Yeah.
The first game came out. I think it was the first major release that 2K put out, like after I'd left the company.
Yeah.
So I worked at Take-Two Interactive, which is like the parent company of Rockstar Games and 2K. So I did all marketing locally. And this was like the first. This had been coming for ages. You know, it was going to be one of the kind of the next big thing. So I know most of the people that worked on the release of this in marketing, sales, whatever, around the world. And I love this franchise. I love the attitude, the style. It looks amazing. I don't think you haven't played any of these, have you?
No, I've not. No.
Oh, you need to check them out. That you would love the style. It's like a 3D cel shaded sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it was one of the first. I mean, it's been done since, but it was one of the first that it was such a unique look when this came out. And the game is so fun. The whole feel of the game is, you can imagine them sitting in a room going, "Oh, wouldn't this be cool?"
Yeah.
And just it's rude, it's violent, this needed to be R-rated, and one of the biggest failings is the fact that it's this PG.
Well, let's talk about
shit.
this, and this is where I think that you're actually being unfair on Eli Roth. It is very, very, very hard to ascertain whose film this actually is, because this has been in production for a very, very.
But it was R-rated
time.
until he came on board, so.
Well, I don't know, because they went through a lot of reshoots without him. I can't remember who the director is, but they...
Tim Miller.
Tim Miller.
He's in there as an EP. He's not there as a director.
That's
he
right.
He did 2 weeks of reshoots because Eli was off doing his mediocre fucking horror film Thanksgiving.
But hey, hang on. Thanksgiving was great.
I was waiting for that. No, that's just
but
me.
Here's the thing.
It's not great.
We know Eli. Eli Roth is known... He's a horror director, firstly. He's not an action big-budget director. It's a weird choice to give him this film to begin with. But he's all about
I think he lobbied.
For it to be R-rated.
I read something that he I think, heard there was an opening, because Lee Winnell was the original director. Fuck, please, why didn't that happen?
Yeah. But are you telling me that you don't think Eli Roth wanted this to be R-rated? You think that he's the one who said this should be PG?
Well, I wouldn't have thought so.
Watching this film, I feel like this is not a film that we are not seeing Eli Roth's film here. We are seeing a studio film here.
I can't get a beat on this guy. Like, he started out with a mediocre horror film that shouldn't have put him on the map anyway, but it did for some reason. No, Cabin Fever.
Oh, yeah,
whatever his first one. And then he went the whole torture porn route, which it was even worse with that horrendous franchise that sullied the universe with its very existence. But then he did The House with the Clock in Its Walls, which is a kids' film, a PG, obviously, and it's good. I reckon it's the best thing he's ever done. It's totally enjoyable.
Yeah,
decent, fantasy kids film. Then he went and did Thanksgiving, and now we've got the. I can't get a hand. It's like he's been following Guy Ritchie's career and gone, oh, I need to do my Aladdin film now. Now I need to do my this. Now I need to go back to my roots. Now I need to do this.
But this is the thing. This movie is a tonal clusterfuck. Like, I was watching this movie. So, like I said, I haven't played the games. I knew nothing about this franchise. And I'm watching this going, who is this for? This is either the most childish, puerile adults movie ever. It's almost as bad as Deadpool vs. Wolverine. It's
Don't.
This is the silliest, over the top, most childish adults film of all time, or it's a kids movie like for kids, but it's too full on for them. Like it doesn't belong to anyone.
No, all I can think is somewhere in a boardroom, people have gone. People who have no idea about either the movie or games industry.
Yeah.
Bean counters have gone, we need to trim this to a PG-13 in States rating because video games are kids' things and we want to make sure we get that kid audience.
My assumption is...
Because I did read something that some of the stunt guys were saying, we did all this amazing stuff. There were, heads being blown up and guts everywhere and all this stuff, and none of it made it to
that's what I mean. I'm sure that was all shot by Eli Roth. I'm sure that was all shot by Eli Roth.
Oh yeah. But that stuff being trimmed out does not exonerate him for a shit script and a shit film, because the problems with this film are so far beyond the fact that it's kind of a sanitized PG-13 where it should have been R-rated.
Well, let's get into some of the problems. Let's start with the cast, can we? Because this is the most wild fucking cast of all time. It's
good cast, underutilized, and given nothing to do.
I don't know.
Don't you dare give me any of your fucking Kate Blanchett hate.
Look, I don't like Kate Blanchett. This is the most I've ever liked her, which surprises me because this is a fucking awful movie. Tara is an interesting one. I like her performance. Yeah. Anyway. I actually quite liked Kate Blanchett in this role, even though I spent the whole movie thinking this is the most bizarre casting of all time. Like, I've never played the games, but like,
have you read her talking about why she took it?
I'm assuming money.
No, because it was during. I mean, this thing's been years coming out the door.
Yeah.
It was during COVID, and she was apparently going stir crazy in her garden with a chainsaw, and the offer, the script or whatever came through. And apparently John, her husband, said, please take this. It will literally save your life because you're going to kill yourself with that chainsaw. Go wield some fake guns instead.
I mean, she's fine. Jack Black is fucking horrendous in this movie, and again, it's not even his fault. That character, do you think that any of Claptrap's lines were written, or did they just let him go nuts in the booth? I mean,
I think they were all written.
I don't know who to blame for it, but it's absolutely.
I'm blaming
terrible.
the script because everything else about the script is shit. So I'm assuming that the shit bits with Claptrap are shit.
Kevin Hart, no good.
Kevin. The best line I read was Kevin Hart plays Kevin Hart in a beret. He didn't bother me.
No,
I don't have the problem with Kevin Hart that a lot of people do. I usually find him entertaining, even in the things with The Rock, and most of those projects are terrible. It's The Rock that's terrible. Generally, I like Kevin Hart and I dislike The Rock. I liked what was that Netflix big budget thing with Gugu and Martha Raw?
Die
Lift
Hard
or Heist or something like. No, I haven't seen it. It's the big heist one. I really like that. I like Kevin Hart. I thought he was fine in this. He was just a bit boring. The only star of this is Ariana Greenblatt.
I was going to say Ariana Greenblatt was the only performance that I really enjoyed. I agree 100%. She was fun.
She is one of the greatest of the you've got there's that sort of emerging group of child actors. Yeah. They're in their teens now, but they're kind of making that transition from child to like older teen actor, and she is one of my favorites of what is a pretty solid cohort of them. I think she's a fucking superstar.
Agreed. She was the only performance to me that really felt like she understood what movie she was in. Like, she was the only one who was having the appropriate amount of fun with it. Jack Black was just being a fucking idiot the whole time. Jamie Lee Curtis was sleepwalking through this. Cate Blanchett was fine, but I felt like she was overacting it.
I thought she was kind of not overly in. She seemed a bit kind of ambivalent towards the whole thing as well.
How could you not?
not at the same level as Jamie Lee Curtis, who it's like she just rocked up on set without a script and was just put there, and they just said, "Oh yeah, you're a scientist."
Yeah.
Oh, fuck! I was so the trailer for this had me so excited. The trailer,
I don't know
because
how.
the trailer made it look like they'd nailed the aesthetic. I don't know if they put all the budget into the CG in the trailer, because the movie CG was shit.
What? No,
the trailer,
okay,
looked good.
CG aside, though, let me ask, as someone who hasn't played the game, do you feel like the aesthetic was botched? Because the one thing I think the film has going for it is that I actually think the look of the film is okay, and I'm sure that all comes straight from the game, but I think some of the character design is quite interesting.
I think if you leave aside the fact that it kind of looks terrible from a technical standpoint, there's fucking pixelation and bad green screen and all, looked horrendous. They've kind of nailed the look of Pandora as this kind of junkyard planet with these crazy characters and the psychos, and if you watched just a few minutes of this, I reckon if you were a fan of the game franchise, you'd think they'd nailed it, because it's like they've gone through a little list of checkboxes going, we need the psychos, we need the the Crimson Tide or whatever they're called, the guards, we need the Threshers, we need we need Claptrap, we need the cool vehicles with the wheels on the legs, whatever I can't even remember what they're called. They're checking boxes as they go through.
Yeah.
But because they've kind of shoved it all onto this pedestrian, linear, predictable plot that's so fucking boring and forgettable. So
the plot's not from the games?
It's taken all of these plot beats from the games.
Yeah.
But it's lost. Like, this is the world of the games is so fun and over the top and broad and expansive, and all these larger than life characters, and they've kind of got these, Gina Gershon, who I didn't even recognize yes, if you look at a still photo, you'd go, oh, okay, that's kind of Moxie, but none of the sexiness, none of the, it's just color by numbers.
Yeah.
Same with, the characters and the look and the design is all there. But it's like someone's read a Wikipedia page about the games and seen a bunch of still, concept illustrations and gone, okay, I can make that movie. Yeah. Rather than getting someone who's played the games and loves them and kind of has the heart and the soul and the feel of them.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm so surprised. Like, Randy Pitchford, who's the CEO of Gearbox, he is the guy he made these games. He is the dude who created this franchise. And I'm so surprised that he was happy to kind of sign off on this.
Yeah.
Unless they just sort of, 2K said just, give us billions of dollars and you go and do you and we won't have a say in it.
Yeah.
But it's like when that fucking abortion of a Max Payne movie with Marky Mark came out, and I was sitting back going, how the fuck did Remedy and Rockstar allow this to happen?
I was just going to ask you, very jokingly before we started recording, suggested that you liked this movie so much that you were going to suggest that we off the back of this do our top 5 video game adaptations.
Yeah.
I genuinely want to ask you, do you think, because I actually don't, like, this movie is getting fucking slammed everywhere. For a while it was 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think now
terrible.
it's 10% or something.
I was wondering why it was only in the bog standard cinema. It wasn't in gold class. It wasn't even in the kind of bigger screen, better sound theater. And I couldn't believe it, because it seems like the sort of thing that should be at fucking IMAX and all this other stuff, you know, because it's a big spectacle. And then I saw it and I went, oh, okay, they obviously watched it before they decided where to put it. Yeah.
All that said, I actually don't think it is. But do you think that this is the worst video game adaptation?
Of course not. You've got things like, I mean, Uwe Boll is a person who exists in
you've
this
got
world.
Alone in the Dark.
You've got Alone in the Dark. That's not even his worst. You've got things like Blood Rain 2 and other stuff he's done. Alone in the Dark I can watch because I like Christian Slater and I like Stephen Dorff. But this is. I chuckled a few times in this. There were moments that I like, and I adore Ariana Greenblatt. So there were things that I didn't come out of this wishing I hadn't seen it. I came out of it massively disappointed, but I'm glad I saw it.
Yeah.
It's just not good.
How are you scoring it then?
Oh, fuck. Look, I'm a 3 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
And that's all for Ariana and maybe a half for Kate.
Yeah.
But the story is terrible. The ending is abysmal. The whole thing's so predictable. Anyone who's ever seen a movie or read a book, 5 minutes into this, as soon as they say the chosen one, knows, oh, well, that's Kate Blanchett.
Yes.
No one is buying the fucking red herring storyline.
Yeah,
it's so
like
badly
I said,
written.
I've never played the games, and I felt like I knew exactly what was going to happen.
I don't remember if any of that fucking chosen one shit's from the games. It's been because the game. I mean, the first game came out years ago, more than a decade ago. But nothing about this story was remotely a surprise. It's so badly written.
Yeah. Well, I'm also a 3 out of 10. I think you hit it exactly on the head. I think that this, while there are some things about the movie I didn't absolutely hate, Ariana Greenblatt being the main thing. I liked Kate Blanchett. Most of this movie is just so dog average. I
feel bad because without exception, the cast are people I like, who I know can do good stuff. I don't blame any of the cast for this. They were filming it during COVID. Most of them probably took the job with no knowledge of the franchise.
I blame Jack Black.
COVID.
I blame Jack Black. I know that the script is bad, but every time he's like, "Oh, geez, did I do that?" I'm like, I'm sure that he was just in a recording booth.
The thing because I was watching the film, going, you know what sums up this film for me and Eli Roth's part in it is the scene that we had to have of a robot shitting.
Yeah.
And I was watching it going, the fact that you wrote this and decided to keep it in tells me everything I need to know about you as a writer-director. And then I read later that he watched his bulldog, I think it was a bulldog, whatever his pet dog is, taking a crap in his garden and went, yeah, that's going in the movie.
Yeah, wow.
And that's why it's there. And it's like, all right, that's you, Eli Roth. You're off the list. I now have you. I can only assume that House with the Clock in Its World was such a fucking great YA book that you couldn't fuck it up.
Yeah.
Because that movie is genuinely enjoyable. It's like a solid 3.5 out of 5. It's a perfectly good film.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for both Jack Black and Kate Blanchett because I'm sure part of the reason they signed on for this is because they saw that was a good film.
Yeah.
And they thought, this Eli fella, neither of them strike me as the sort of person who runs out watching the next Hostel film.
Yeah.
That's probably the only Eli Roth film they're familiar with. And they signed on in good faith, and now they're going to have this on their resume for the rest of their lives, and I feel bad for them.
I mean, don't feel bad for them. The movie's awful. This is our shortest episode, certainly since you joined the pod. I think we've maybe done one episode this short before in the past, but I have nothing good to say about this movie, so 3 out of 10.
I can't think of anything else to say other than that Ariana Greenblatt is amazing.
Hopefully next week
film is shit.
Hopefully next week will be much better because next week we're finally getting Alien Romulus.
Yeah.
So
Fetty Alvarez, in Fetty we trust.
Yep, I'm certain that's going to be good. So
we have Dora versus a xenomorph. It doesn't get better than that.
So that's next week. In the meantime, if you want to get in touch with us, you can do that at pottymouthradio@gmail.com or pottymouthradio.com. You can find us on Facebook and join the Facebook listener community where you can join in on the chatter.
Shit's on the website.
Go check out all the rest of our shows, particularly Hunt for the Perfect Album, which we're about to record a couple of episodes of right now. And just last
week...
Go
listen to the latest road trip songs. I was jamming that on the way home. I need to fucking write down some of your picks because I didn't know them. And I was listening to them again going, fuck, they're even better than I thought they were at the time.
I had a good list. So be sure to join the Facebook listener community so that you can
ignore what
vote.
I just said when I put the vote up in the listener community because I don't want to bias people against myself.
And we'll catch you next week.
See ya.